Hello guys, so welcome to another video lecture for Philippine politics and governance. This video will be discussing the colonial government of Spain. So before I move forward to that, let's have a brief review or recap first, right? How the Spanish get here at the very first place, or how did they get the Philippines for 333 years? Basically, the expedition is divided into two. All right. The Magellan's expedition and Miguel Lopez de Legazpi's expedition. All right. So basically, back then, European countries are competing within themselves on how much colony do they have. So basically, the logic is that back then in history is that the more colonies you have all over the world, the more powerful you are. So that's the reason why expeditions happened. And Magellan, basically as the well infamous Magellan, um, who firstly circumnavigated Earth, discovered an island in the Southeast Asia, right? Nearly in Leyte or in Cebu, all right? And eventually, Magellan was killed in Battle of Mactan against the colonies or barangays of Lapu-Lapu and um, its army, right? So when Magellan died, their ships went back to Spain, and the king of Spain basically was very curious what is this island all about, and Miguel Lopez de Legazpi came back and started to colonize um the Philippines. Okay, so basically, um their occupation was brutal as per se because they basically changed the perspective, the established perspective of the people of that island and converted them to different Western beliefs that basically led to significant changes in their governmental structure and their understanding of government. All right. So basically, three G's is the goal of Spain: God, gold, and glory. So they started to indoctrinate Filipinos with Catholicism, and at the same time started to basically teach them how it is important to obey the government. Yun eh. Because the main contention is that was the colonization good or bad? It was certainly bad. It was certainly bloody. All right. However, these things in very existence generally gave also another perspective for Filipinos to improve themselves when it comes to their um governance. All right. So let's talk about some key terms in this discussion before I discuss the governmental structure of the Spanish colonization or Spanish colonial government. So let's try to take a look at their political structure. So Spain was able to establish a centralized colonial government in the Philippines. So when we say centralized colonial government in the Philippines, the main government of the Philippines is not in the Philippines but in Spain, and there are just group of people basically heading and leading the Philippines. That was composed of a national government and the local governments. So meaning to say, in the earliest form of Spanish government, all right, we adopted to them the idea of national and local government. Okay. So meaning to say, they are capable or they were the ones to illustrate to us that there should be a localization of government. So meaning what are these, right? These are administered provinces, cities, towns, and municipalities. All right, put that in mind. These are provinces, cities, towns, and municipalities. All right. So with the cooperation of local and national government, their main goal in their political structure is that they want to maintain peace and order, which is very important in a government and vital role. Pero yung nadagdag lang is that they are starting to collect taxes. Okay. So taxes are defined in corporate law as the fuel of government. All right. So meaning the belief that a government cannot function without taxes came from the Spanish colonizers. Okay. So they said, because these taxes, these are the ones that they're using to build schools and other public works. All right. So it's not true as well that education, formal education started in the American occupation. It's not, because there is already an existing formal education even in the existence of Spanish colonial occupation. Okay. So these are the three things: maintain peace and order, collect taxes, build schools, and other public works. So that is their political structure. That's what they said to Filipinos. But in things in between to that, in fulfilling the promises, was brutal operations, coercions, and at the same time, um, humiliation to Filipinos that palaging Pilipino yung nagsisimula ng gulo, primarily because we are not following what they're saying. Filipinos starts um, conflicts because basically we're not paying taxes. But basically, this structure ideally, ano, wanted to maintain peace and order, collect taxes, build schools. Okay? Now, who heads who, right, in the colonial government? So the governor general is the king's representative and the highest ranking official in the Philippines. So the governor general saw to it that royal decrees and laws emanating from Spain were implemented in the Philippines. Again, we are in a centralized colonial government, meaning our national government is in Spain. Right? So the job of the governor general is every presidential decree or royal decrees and laws that are being promulgated in Spain should be implemented as well in the Philippines. So the governor general has the power to appoint and dismiss public officials, except those personally chosen by the king. Meaning, okay, the governor general has no power anything, any any appointee of the king. So basically, in the Spanish colonial government, we do recognize monarchical operations of Spanish government. At the same time, we are also observing some federal aspect of the government. So he also, okay, balik tayo dito sa Governor General. He also supervised all government offices and the collection of taxes, mainly in the Philippines, and he has to give a report to the king and to the national government. The governor general exercises certain legislative powers as well. So he issues proclamations to facilitate the implementations of laws. So why do he have these kinds of special powers in legislation? So the nature of laws in the Spain when they are doing legislations, basically legislations do happen in the Spain or in Spain. However, if the law is not suited or fit, let's say for an example, climate, political weather, all right, the governor general has the power to implement underlying principles and laws to facilitate smoother implementation of the laws coming from the national government. Okay? So ibig sabihin sa Tagalog, kung yung batas hindi akma sa Pilipinas, ang gobernador general ay pwedeng magbigay ng ng mga dagdag na batas para mas magkaroon ng mas smooth and at the same time mas akmang batas na galing sa national government. Ba't ako nahihirapan mag-Tagalog? Okay? So that's how it works. Okay? That's how it works. Now, so let's take a look at the residencia, right? Residencia is a special judicial court that investigates the performance of a governor general who was about to be replaced. So, meaning governor general who doesn't sit in power all the time, all right? He has to stop as well from his or her, or step down from his position. So, the residencia, of which the incoming governor general was usually a member, submitted a report of its findings to the king, meaning they are counter assessing or auditing the outgoing governor general because they don't want to assume any atrocities and corruption as well. So the visita naman is that the Council of the Indies in Spain sent government official called the Visitador General to observe conditions in the colony. Meaning, visita looks like supervisors. Kaya nga, from the term itself, visita, right? They look at different colonies and in their situations they observe, and then the Visitador General reports the findings directly to the king. So, let's say, for an example, the Philippines is a colony of Spain, right? So, Visitador General has the power to go to the Philippines anytime and to check if the Philippines and the laws coming from the Spain are being promulgated in the colony. And if not, they will report it to the king. Okay? That's how visita works. What is royal audiencia in the pre or in the Spanish colonial government? So apart from its judicial functions, where they trial cases in the colony, the audiencia serves as an advisory body to the governor general. Okay, so they had the power to check and report on his abuses, meaning the power of the governor general is basically limited and checked by the royal audiencia, especially if they are committing atrocities. These definitions that I'm giving to you right now are basically ideal in its essence because it's not what happened on the ground. What happened on the ground is that the visita, royal audiencia, and at the same time, residential, okay, are basically aware of power plays, all right, and at the same time, corruptions to their power. So if they're abusive in nature, look at how big and large the power that they can basically possess. So in Royal Audiencia, if I am the Governor General, and let's say Sir Jude is the Royal Audiencia, but Jude's like me, right? And I'll just basically say to Jude that don't tell them what you see in the colony, stuff like that. So the audiencia also audits expenditures of the colonial government and send a yearly report to Spain. Again, this is open to corruption and atrocities. Okay? Archbishop and other government officials could also report the abuses of the colonial government to the Spanish king. So despite all these checks, however, an abusive governor general often managed to escape step fines, suspensions, or dismissal. This is what I'm saying. By simply bribing the visitador and other investigators. So meaning they are exposed with bribery. So the concept pala of bribery is exacerbated in the existence of pre-colonial government. So it was a loss for us. We are learning from wrong teachers. Diba? Kasi even then, the concept of corruptions, the concept of power play and bribery is already existing in the colonial governments. And we learned that from them, and we have to stop doing that. Right? So this is how the fuck up of Philippines started. Right? Let's move forward. Let's talk about the provincial government. So the Spanish created local government units to facilitate the country's administration. So there were two types of local government. Take note of this one. This will surely come out in the examination. The first unit of the local government is the alcaldía or alcaldía, and the second one is the corregimiento. Okay? So the alcaldía or alcaldía, led by the alcalde mayor, governed the provinces that had been fully subjugated. What do we mean when we say fully subjugated? Meaning to say, when we say fully subjugated, meaning they are fully controlled by the Spanish government. While corregimiento naman is headed by the corregidor, these are the provinces that were not yet entirely under Spanish control. Meaning to say, in corregimiento, there are still retaliation from people and they don't want the influence of the Spanish colonizers. So, if you're going to take a look at it, syempre, if you are the colonizer, mas paborito mo yung Alcadia kesa sa Corregimiento. Kasi yung Alcadia is they followed immediately. Kaya nga sila fully subjugated already, di ba? But Corregimiento, nandito yung mga matitigas yung ulo, nandito yung mga tropa nila Rizal, nandito yung mga tropa nila um, Bonifacio. Okay? So, there is a mistreatment or maltreatment between corregimiento and alcaldía. That's safe to assume, right? So alcalde mayors represented the Spanish king and the governor general in their respective provinces. See, there is already an inherent power between alcalde mayor and corregidor, di ba? So they manage the day-to-day operation of the provincial government, implemented laws and supervised the collections of taxes, and through they were paid a small salary, they enjoyed privileges such as the indulto de comercio or the right to participate in the galleon trade. So what's the big deal in galleon trade? Just imagine that galleon trade is Mall of Asia, all right? And not everyone is allowed to enter the Mall of Asia kahit pa may pambili ka and stuff. So that's the reward that you'll get. If you do these supervisions as the alcalde mayor, you get to participate in the galleon trade and get the fascinating and fabulous things in 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 these trades. All right. So those are the things that you get basically in the provincial government. Okay, let's move forward and let's not make this too long because I know you guys are sleepy already. Talk about municipal government. So each province was divided into several towns or pueblos headed by Governor Silius, whose main concerns were efficient governance and tax collection. So four lieutenants aided the Governor Silio. We have Teniente Mayor, Teniente de Policía, the Teniente de Semanteras, and the Teniente de Ganados. Okay? And this is the highest position that a Filipino can get in the Spanish colonial government. Let me repeat that. The highest position that a Filipino can get in the Spanish colonized government is Gobernador Silio. Okay? If you're a pure-blooded Filipino, yan lang ang pwede mong makuha. Pinakamataas na yan. Kailangan mo pang sumipsip, kailangan mo pang baliin yung mga prinsipyo mo, okay? Para lang dito. Okay, let's talk about encomienda system. The encomienda system played a very important role in the Spanish colonial government as it basically runs most the important facets of governance, such as economy, politics, societal order, and basically cultural aspects. So Spain owed the colonization of the Philippines to Miguel Lopez de Legazpi, who valiantly and loyally served the Spanish crown. So what did they do to hasten the subjugation of the country? King Philip II instructed Legazpi to divide the Philippines into large territories called encomiendas. So to be left to the management of designated encomienderos. Okay? So basically, they want to divide Philippines. Manila being its capital. Okay? So the encomienderos were only territorial overseers who had the duty of, number one, protect the people in the encomienda. So if you are in the encomienda, you are in the big cities, all right? You're more protected than those who are in municipios or those are in corregidors, right? Because you are being given an easy treatment. So parang the logic of the Spain when they are colonizing it. Okay, let's divide it into different places. And then remember Alcaldía, all right? We will treat better Alcaldía so that people will realize that we can treat them better, lilipat sila dito so that we can control them even more. So that was their tactic. Right? And they gave more protection to the people in encomienda, more participations to different sets of trades, more participations into alleviating their kinds of lives. That's why may mga mayayamang Pilipino noon na nasa encomienda, right? Kaya nung pumutok yung gera laban sa Espanya, isa sila sa mga kontra dito kasi okay naman yung buhay nila sa encomienda. Because in encomienda, there is a peace and order. That's part of their goal. They're also promoting education and health programs. They're also propagating Christianity. Di ba? And they are continuing the galleon trade in encomienda system. So basically, instead of just hastening the subjugation, okay, basically it also started and it's also exacerbated in the Spanish colonial government the concept of social strata. Okay, meaning to say is that there has been exacerbations of differences into the kinds of economic lives of Filipinos that even until now we inherited that particular culture. Okay. So that's the reason why I say that it's basically from on this, that the Spain's colonial government influenced us a lot on how do we see societal functions even until now. So try to take a look at this particular um, uh, organizational chart. You can just pause the video and you can go back to those discussions of key terms that I've been discussing in the pre-colonial government. I'll not deep dive into it because I've been mentioning and discussing it already in the key terms. So that's basically pre-colonial government. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, just message me or put it in the comment section down below. Give me a like and share and subscribe as well on this YouTube channel. And I'll see you next video. Thank you so much.